Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Focusing in a little bit more in depth on the mind control techniques that are utilized by covert, overt narcissists, as well as psychopathic individuals. Remember that the cluster B personality disorder, as defined by the DSM-5R, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual that is utilized by mental health professionals to diagnose and treat mental health disorders, realize that there's more or less essentially a spectrum of severity when we talk about narcissistic individuals and then moving further into psychopathy, essentially in the degree at which their symptoms are presented and the degree of exploitation and really sort of abuse, emotional abuse that their counterparts, the people in their life, experience. So, the covert narcissist, overt narcissist, and psychopath, really they're all defined by having an exaggerated sense of self-importance, superiority, self-centeredness, really kind of in their own world, their own reality, or really what they feel as an entitlement. And it's inflated so that it really is really pathological, meaning it's oftentimes not based in reality. And really the other issue is that within the narcissist and the psychopath, they also have a lack of empathy, and in the psychopath, a lack of morality and conscience. So it really exasperates the mental sort of circuitry that is going on, and it causes them to really seek to manipulate and control others, have power over them, and they will generally participate in one of the most insidious forms of psychological manipulation and really torture, which is that of gaslighting. And gaslighting is an experience which begins very gradually. So it's not just like all of a sudden you feel like this overwhelm or a feeling of gaslighting or an altered sense of reality. The gaslighting takes place during the love bombing phase, essentially, where they overwhelm you originally with, a very pleasurable cocktail of oxytocin, the serotonin, really that feeling of maybe euphoria, oneness, complete ease, and exhilaration that you feel with these people. The narcissist, overt narcissist coming in and being extremely charming, extremely affable, basically almost an experience of feeling bliss, like they're sweeping you off of your feet. They make you feel so at ease. The sweet nothings that they speak in your ear really tends to break you down, though, really breaking down your sense of reality and your identity, more or less. So rather than treating, calling you by your name, respectful of boundaries, your identity, your perceptions, your values, all these things that make you you, the overt narcissist will begin to break these down by their really outwardly pronounced charming behaviors. Think of Kramer in the sitcom, Seinfeld, or just those like bigger than life type of people who are like always like swooping into the center of attention and all attention on me, constant need for admiration, maybe a little bit quirky, but very grandiose sort of self-carriage, the way that they carry their body, the way that they speak. They can be extremely attention-seeking and attention-getting. So that's your overt narcissist and how they originally kind of lure you in, hook you in. And then you've got the covert narcissist who really can be quite adorable and really like attract you really through more subtle means, and kind of their underhanded, really sort of intelligence. They can be high functioning, but also really rather quiet. So I think what originally brings people sort of into the covert narcissist is their really sort of really extreme gentleness, extreme passivity. They're the way that they're so docile. They're just so go with the flow. I mean, they have no sort of friction to them. And, so that's really what kind of gets people, hooked into them. And then, of course, the psychopath really, like the overt, they can be very overt in terms of how they charm people, lure them in, but then, kind of break them down. And when we talk about gaslighting and breaking people down, they do this in a number of ways. Through really kind of giving you a distorted sense of reality. In other words, at first they will break you down through constant attention seeking, breaking you down physically, the long hours, perhaps, staying up all night, overworking, constantly trying to get your attention through email or texting when you should be focusing on your work. So they disrupt your ordinary rhythm to your day, your ordinary focus. Inappropriate sexual advances or inappropriate cerebral advances, being too intellectual all the time to get you kind of like off of your normal thought pattern. And it's really a form of emotional abuse where they really then begin to cause you to doubt your own perceptions and your own memories, and really kind of gets you to doubt your own instincts that you've relied on your entire life and make you. And so really they get you to break you down from that, which is kind of like your normal operating system. I mean, I very much liken it to a computer. Just your hardware gets really, really messed up, and just sort of it's like a sabotage, but you don't realize it because at first it becomes pleasurable, but they really begin to then sabotage your very own sort of instincts and your own biorhythms and your own emotional security. And it's almost like if you've ever heard of warfare, where they capture prisoners of war and break them down and interrogate them. It's a similar sort of feeling where they get you to be so confused about yourself, your motives, your reasoning, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, and it becomes very torturous. So what it is, they're targeting really your mental equilibrium. So that's where they get you sort of off. It's just that it's your mental equilibrium is then offset, and this starts to get kind of in your self-confidence. So it's like you're constantly like a little bit paranoid, a little bit concerned, a little bit fearful, but yet this fear is mixed with pleasure. So this is where it becomes this very dangerous sort of concoction in the body, where it's this really, and it creates a heightened state of ambiguity and uncertainty. So for example, and it creates really psychological warfare. So imagine, I think this is a good example. If something is strangely wonderful, strangely wonderful. If you think about, how can you have simultaneously the feeling that something is strange, which is not positive, but yet wonderful, which is the other side. So it creates this ambiguity. It creates this cognitive dissonance where it's like a push and pull at the same time. And it creates this tension within the mind and this ambiguity, but it becomes even more heightened with things that they say, sexual overtones. So it can really create then this hypervigilance and really heightened state of awareness, fueled with the sexual arousal, and then risk-taking, the highs and lows, create this adrenaline rush within the body, so that one is really kind of like becoming newly wired to this person, where then this person basically begins to overwhelm your physicality, your mentality, your psychological balance, and then you're basically then in a state where you feel like that you're kind of disconnected from reality, or disconnected from your comfort level, but yet it's arousing because you think this person was so wonderful, or like the answer to your prayers, or you just had this sort of great connection with them, which you're trying to reconnect with. So it's very, very bizarre. And And, you know, what happens is that, you know, when you're in this state of really uncomfortable ambiguity, the manipulator, the narcissist, or the psychopath, they have an ability to kind of input new messages, and basically making you believe certain things, you know, making you feel and kind of disconnected from your reality, and making you see new associations that really aren't appropriate. So they're able to really sort of disturb the emotional connection that you have with things, where it's extremely overwhelming. And it can be very addicting, and it causes a lot of sort of intrusive thoughts. People can't stop thinking about them, can't stop thinking, and it becomes really insidious, and it's really an addiction. And people then, what happens with this gaslighting is they tend to satisfy their tension by recontacting this person. And they then, continue to recontact this person who's manipulating and abusing them. And they become almost zombie-like, where they're just kind of like waiting for them just to even be around. Their presence becomes fulfilling. And it's like you're abandoning your very own set of internal peace, and homeostasis. So this is the experience of being gaslighted. So if you are encountering this and it's very distressful, please do feel free to contact me at the email. I can help you work through this. It's a little bit of a withdrawal stage that needs to occur, but I can definitely help you with this. You can always email me at peaceandharmonynow@gmail.com. But be very aware of this. It's very serious, and it's very important to go no contact from this person, so you can begin to restore some sort of normalcy of your own sort of senses back into regulating your environment, and then your direction moving forward. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.